Where were you born? Were you born in Valencia?
Yeah, here in Valencia.
In the centre of the city, or in the suburbs, in a village?
In the centre of the city. I've lived my whole life at, you know, the other side of the river, like the centre.
Okay. Okay. And are you there now as well? Are you still living in the centre now?
Yeah, now I'm living in the centre again. But yes. Yeah.
What was it like growing up in Valencia? Did it feel too small for you, or were you happy?
I think, well, I'd say it's average. Everyone more or less feels the same, unless you live outside for a while. So when I was like 8 or something like that, my dad was moved to Castellón for job. And I lived there for 5 years. So when I returned, I felt Valencia huge, because Castellón is a small city for someone who's 8 and 10 and 12, so I could go to play with my friends at the park and things like that, and I could go on my own walking. And that when I returned to Valencia, I was around, I don't know, 14 or 13, 14, and that was just unthinkable for my parents. I wouldn't go alone walking anywhere.
But you went to university here?
Yeah, I also went to university in Madrid for a year. I moved to Madrid, but that was more on my own. My parents stayed here when I moved there.
Right. What do you do? Can you talk a bit about what you do here at the British Council on a day-to-day basis?
On a day-to-day basis, I'm a librarian, which is more or less what I wanted to be, which is great. I work here at Avenida Catalunya in the mornings, so I'm with the adult students Monday to Thursday mornings, and evenings and Saturdays I work at German school with our young learner students. So I've got children there from 5 to 16. And
what are your sort of responsibilities? Obviously organising the library and keeping the database of the students.
Yeah, well, that's something I share with the other librarians. We are three of us here, and then it's only me at German school. But I also organize some reading activities for the young learners at German school. It's called the Reading Talent. It's a program created by the reading agency in the UK, and they do it with the public libraries around the UK and also with the British Council libraries. So it's like a challenge they create for children to take over the summer there, and then the following academic course we do it here.
Is it based online? Is it something they do on the internet, or?
It's got a part online with games, and they read a book, they draw or write about it depending on the age, and then they got stickers and codes that unlock games on the internet, but we don't play the internet part, we just do the stickers part, because as it's spaced to, or is supposed to be done over the summer, the challenge is not working at that moment or that good.
Yeah. And how old are the children who do this?
We normally start with a 6-year-old here, because the 5 can't totally read.
Sure.
So we start with the primary 6, 7, and we go up until we run out of time. Yeah, because I do 1 class per day of the week. So it's 1 Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. So it's at the end, and 2 on Saturday. So at the end is 6 classes per week.
Sol, what do you do with your free time when you're not working?
Well, I think you've guessed that I do a lot of reading. Yeah.
Do you do any writing?
No.
Creative writing?
No, not anymore. I used to, but if you want to write, you have to write at least a little every day. It's not that, I'm going to write today, that I've got an hour free, and then I don't write for 5 months.
Yeah, you have to have the discipline too.
Yeah, and I don't have the discipline. I like to do a lot of things, so I start thousands of things that I gave up when I have to.
It sounds like me. I do the same.
But apart from reading a lot, I really like watching TV series.
Any in particular?
Well,
do you tend to watch American?
Yeah, I tend to watch
British,
American.
or Spanish?
Not nothing.
Not Spanish.
Sorry. No.
Not the soap operas from Argentina.
I've heard the Isabel one is quite good.
I haven't seen
it. From a historical point of view, it's quite good, so I'm going to give it a try.
Yeah.
But normally, American, I don't like the English ones.
Have you seen Breaking Bad yet?
No, not yet.
Me neither. It's supposed to be very good.
Yeah, I've heard so. But I love the Sherlock one from the BBC, the new one.
Me too.
I love that one.
That was very good.
I don't normally watch British series. I love that one. It's amazing. I recommend it.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
And it's good to practice your English.
Yeah, but he speaks so fast, I need the subtitles.
Yeah.
So it's important to watch it with subtitles in English.
Okay.
But it's good, the language and everything. I watch everything. I don't have a limit. I just watch. My boyfriend says that I don't have a limit, and everything that is on a series, I watch it. At least the first 5 episodes, just to give it a try.
Have you been watching Homeland?
I've been watching Homeland and Scandal and Glee and Gossip Girl.
Glee, I didn't like.
And Grey's Anatomy and everything at the same time is just a nightmare. And Big Bang Theory, everything. I watch everything. It's terrible.
How did your English get so good? Were you sent to the UK when you were young by your parents?
Yeah, I was.
Every summer? For
3
summer
summers.
Schools? 3
summer
summers?
Schools. Yeah, only for a month. I was sent to, it was Ireland. It was near Dublin. And I wasn't really sent. It's just, they asked me if I wanted to, and I said, okay.
But did you go with a Spanish group? Were there other Spanish, and didn't you just speak Spanish with
No, because I made Irish friends. So we were a big group of Spanish and Irish people. It was a really small town. Something like, Santa Barbara, or it's more urbanización.
Yes.
Rather than a town. So it was really small, and we were loads of young people, English and Irish. So we used to go together, and it wasn't nice of them speaking English when we couldn't understand them, and they had to explain a lot of things. So we speak English in exchange.
Okay.
Not to be rude.
So that was 3 years, 1 month. Every year.
Every July.
And you were did you have private classes, or were you just studying like in school?
I was studying until that moment in school. And then I was sent for 3. I wasn't really go because I wanted to, but I was sent for 3 years. And then I started going to private classes for Cambridge exams, to prepare the Cambridge exams.
And how old were you when you started private classes?
17.
17, yeah.
Oh, yeah, 17, 18.
But you've never lived and worked abroad for a long period of time?
No. So everyone can do it. It's just wanting to. It's just.
What advice would you give then for someone watching this who wants to get their English as good as yours?
The advice I normally give to a student at the library is read a lot.
Read a lot.
You're not aware of how much you improve your English and how many new words you learn just by context. You don't need to use a dictionary, and it's really good. So reading is really important when starting a language, and it has to be a challenge. So when you start with the adapted materials and you can read everything and it's not a challenge anymore, just move to the following level.
But that would improve your grammar, your vocabulary, but it wouldn't improve your listening or your pronunciation.
Good enough. Then speak. Just don't be afraid of making mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Even in your language, in your first language, in Spanish, I sometimes make mistakes, grammar mistakes. We all do. So it's just, it's not feel embarrassed.
Right.
At first you're gonna sound like strange. You're gonna sound strange, but if you're trying, the other person speaking with you is gonna try to understand you, and it's something. It's just to think of when you hear someone speaking Spanish and it's not native. They sound strange, but you either can correct and help and understand what they are asking, or laugh. This is the same. It's your attitude towards someone speaking other language is what you can see.
Do you remember how you felt the first time you went to Ireland and you had to speak English with the people you met in the small village? Or were you shy? Were you nervous about making mistakes?
I remember the first week conversations at the house I was staying with. I was staying in because I was staying with a family and not in a school.
Homestay.
Yeah, homestay. I used to go downstairs for breakfast, lunch and dinner with my dictionary because it was like playing taboo all the time with the family, but they were really, really nice. I still appreciate them a lot. And
are you still in touch with them?
we send Christmas cards and things.
That's
still,
really nice.
Yeah, they're really nice. So it was like playing taboo, but it was really funny. Yeah.
Okay, now we move on to the quick fire hot seat. So I'm going to ask you some questions and tell me what you think.
The quickfire hot seat.
What makes you happy?
Sunny days, chocolate.
Like today?
Like today,
What makes you sad?
cold and rain.
And you're speaking about moving to Dublin.
That's why I'm staying here. It's just something I could do in the future, but I'm staying.
Staying here for the sun. What one thing, if you were to tell someone about yourself, would they find difficult to believe?
I don't know. There are two things. One, I don't have a driving license, and people find it shocking.
How do you move around the city? By public transport?
Yeah, or walking, or bicycle.
Or bicycle.
Or just ask my boyfriend to drive me somewhere until he just gets sick of me.
Are you thinking of taking the test, the driving test?
I'm taking it tomorrow.
Really?
Really.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Is it your first
Yeah.
try, your first attempt?
Yeah, I just thought it's time. I'm old enough to give it a try at least. Yeah, that's one thing. And
What's
the
the
other
second
one,
thing?
I'm really, really into fantasy novels, sci-fi, Star Trek, Star Wars.
Ah, you're a Trekkie.
No, I'm less. I'm not really a Trekkie, but I like it.
What do you think of Game of Thrones?
I think it's amazing.
Have you've read them?
Yeah, all of them. And so that kind of thing, people just looks at me and says, "Oh, you're a nerd."
Are you
Yeah,
Are you the kind of person that has to read the book before you see the film?
Yeah, I am.
And does it usually disappoint you when you see the film?
Sometimes,
not
most
how
of
you
the times,
imagined
yes. Yes, yeah. And I also play the board games, like
Dungeons and Dragons?
well, no, Dungeons and Dragons, not that. Yeah, yes, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Which famous person, dead or alive, would you like to have dinner with?
I'm totally sure about this one. Neil Gaiman.
Neil Diamond?
Neil Gaiman.
Ah.
I don't know who Neil Diamond is.
He's a singer.
Right.
Yeah, an old, my generation.
No, not that one. Neil Gaiman.
Who's he?
He's an English writer. He's also, well, he's written the comic book I like the most, which is The Sandman, and it's very famous.
I've heard of The Sandman, yeah.
He's an English writer, and he writes from children books up to adult novels, and he's fantasy mainly, fantasy and kind of science fiction. He's really, really good, and he also has a blog at The Guardian, and normally writes about, well, usually about famous writers and artists dying when they do this. How do you call them? Like memorial short articles.
Yeah, obituaries.
Obituaries, yeah. Thank you. So, I mean, he's quite famous.
What would you ask him?
What would I ask him? I don't know. I probably stare at him.
So you're really into comics and
yeah.
Who's your favourite superhero?
My favorite superhero, Rogue from the X-Men. I don't know the name now of the actress, the one that is in True Blood, the blonde one that is True Blood after, but it's brunette in the
And what does she do? She absorbs the power of
all the mutants,
superheroes.
Yeah, all the superheroes.
Okay, I'm a Wolverine fan.
They're good friends, you know.
yeah, no, they're good friends. Yeah.
Yeah, the film, I mean, really.
If you could have any superpower, which one would you choose?
I don't know.
Let me make it easier. You
All
could
right.
choose between flying or invisibility.
Flying.
Why?
I don't know. I think invisibility is just, if you're constantly in danger, or you're really curious, it's okay. But flying must be amazing.
It's supposed to be the right answer if you're a nice person, because the invisibility is more dark and maybe doing things without being seen, and flying is just, it's more...
It must be amazing flying.
Like nature. Anyway, that's enough about comics.
It is.
What one thing would it be difficult for you to live without?
Books. True. Books.
Do you tend to read paperback books or on a device like a Kindle or an iPad?
Both of them.
Both of them.
I normally read 2 or 3 books at the same time, and I just have them all around. So I've got one at my
one next to the bed,
another one on the back,
and then on the bus. Yeah.
So everything, and I don't make distinctions. I don't mind.
You don't have a preference. You're happy reading.
I love paper. I love paper. I think it's not going to disappear ever.
Do you think I'm very strange when I get a new book that I open it and smell it?
No. No, because
I've always done that
they
with new
smell.
books.
They've got a special smell.
They
it's
have a
new
nice
book
smell.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In an ideal world, what would your life be like?
Well, in an ideal...
Apart from being able to fly, of course.
Yeah, flying, and also I'd own a bookstore. And I won't go bankrupt ever, you know. I could own a bookstore, a nice one with sofas and coffee and loads of science fiction and fantasy stuff that you can't find in Spain.
Yeah.
So
that's definitely an achievable.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say dream. That's definitely an achievable aim. That's something that you could realise in.
Yeah, but the bankruptcy stuff is still, you know, the fear is still there.
Yeah.
I don't think people consume culture enough for this kind of business to be small businesses. I'm not talking about a FNAC or something like that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Maybe it would have to be very niche, very specialised, and also combined with the internet in some way, where you'd have to send them by mail. But definitely possible. If you could travel anywhere, which one place would you like to visit?
The States, probably. The Library of Congress.
The Library of Washington?
Yeah. Yeah. It's this kind of things, you know. When I travel, I go to museums and libraries, but I go to libraries.
Yes, and you look at libraries.
Yeah. I went to the British Library when I went to London last time, and I've been asked, but to take the photograph from the doors? No. Just to go in and see it. So.
Okay. Yeah. If you could change something about your character, what would you change? I have a real bad temper. Really?
Yeah.
What makes you angry?
Everything. Loads of things. I get really angry, but it's like this kind of quick angry and then quickly down, and I'm not angry for a long time.
Finally, Sol, if you had 600 euros to spend on yourself, apart from books, what would you buy?
Is it 600?
6,000.
Oh, right. It's because...
That's enough to get you to Washington.
Yeah.
Is that what you do with the money? You go to Washington to see the Library of Congress?
No, probably not. But, well, if I had that money and to spend on myself, I'll travel. And I'll see some amazing libraries around the world. But that's on a dream. And on a daily routine basis, I'd probably buy a motorbike.
A motorbike?
Yeah, but a big one, big one.
Okay. But you wouldn't, having your driving test tomorrow, you wouldn't buy a car? You'd prefer to have a motorbike?
No, a car, you have to park it.
Yeah.
And you know, a motorbike is more comfortable and useful for the city.
That's true, especially in Valencia.
Or a Vespa, an old restored Vespa.
From the
because
60s.
they're really, really expensive. Yeah, that's where I would buy an old restored Vespa.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks to you. So we start with the primary 6, 7, and we go up until we run out of time. I'm really, really into sci-fi, Star Trek, Star Wars.
Read a lot.
You're not aware of how much you improve your English. What would I ask him? I don't know. I probably stare at him. I own a bookstore, and I won't go bankrupt ever, you know.